When a country needs the temperature turned down, you can always bank on Donald Trump being there to crank up the heat. This is just another day. It hasn't been long since the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and the person responsible has already been captured and brought into custody. But now an even harder task is at hand: healing a divided nation.
What do we do about our country with that? Because we have radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less.
Okay, two things. First, great opening response to the question, how do we fix our fractured country? But second, to the whole, what I'm about to say is going to get me in trouble thing, no, it isn't. There is nothing that is too outlandish, too offensive, or a bridge too far for the Trump loyalists. This is a guy who ran a whole ass campaign vowing to bring Epstein's accomplices to justice, only to be implicated in the Epstein files and then actively engaged in a cover-up of said files, and still his supporters just shrugged it off by saying, hey, that's just Trump being Trump. So, Donald, please say whatever's on your mind and let me reassure you, you'll be fine.
The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. And they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy.
For the love of God, please, just once, meet the moment. You are being asked, after a fatal political shooting, how to heal a fractured nation, and your response is the same as everybody's unhinged uncle on Facebook? In terms of what is helpful and not helpful for a country, I would file the president going on national television to deride half of our citizens in the not helpful folder. Is it too much to ask just for a brief respite from the usual anti-left diatribe?
And these stupid people, and some of them are stupid in terms of common sense, but they're brilliant in other ways. Biden wasn't calling the shots. It was the geniuses that surrounded, radical left geniuses that surrounded him on the, unfortunately, he used the Resolute desk. That's the one I used. I hated that he used it, but he used it. But they called the shots, and he didn't do anything. Look at what happened. The auto pen signed everything. He wasn't aware of anything that was being signed.
I would just like to point out that this is still Trump's response to the question, how do we fix our divided country? Apparently, these are factory settings that can't be reset, even though the Fox and Friends anchors desperately tried.
American people, they're shaken this morning over Charlie Kirk, the school shootings that are happening. What do you say to those people that are hurting this morning?
Well, I tell politicians, and I have a lot of friends that are Democrats. You know, there are some normal Democrats, too, not too many.
He just can't not do it. It's like he's one of those kids taking the marshmallow test. If you put the marshmallow in front of him, he can't wait. He has to eat the thing. And if you put Trump on TV or radio or Twitter or Facebook or Truth Social or even by himself on a lake in the middle of nowhere, he has to take that opportunity to bash Democrats. But let's give him another try, shall we?
Is the message to the right, the people that are going to go, I want revenge, not to have revenge? Charlie Kirk would not want revenge.
You want revenge at the voter
That's
box.
where to go.
But unfortunately, we don't have so many ballot boxes because they have mail-in voting, which is totally rigged.
This guy is a master at 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, except with him, it's 6 degrees of election fraud. I bet he could do it even with Kevin Bacon. Let's see. Kevin Bacon was in the hit 1980s movie Footloose, which did not win an Oscar because the votes were rigged, not so dissimilar to what happened to me in 2020. See? Not hard at all. But here is the issue with having a commander-in-chief who sets the wrong tone. It emboldens other people to follow in his footsteps, even members of his own family.
You can't call someone who you disagree with or simply can't win an argument with a Nazi, a fascist, a dictator, a greatest threat to democracy in the history of civilization, and then pretend you had nothing to do with it when the more radical wing, and there does not seem to be all that much difference to me these days, takes up arms and tries to kill those they disagree with. It's not one way. It's not both ways. It is simply one way. And anyone who's saying otherwise, should be thrown off the air.
First of all, I would be more on board with Don Jr.'s plea that people stop calling his dad Hitler if his dad didn't go on to pick those people as his running mate. Second of all, it is rich hearing Don Jr. grandstand about the dangers of political violence when his reaction to Paul Pelosi getting bludgeoned with a hammer was to turn it into a Halloween costume. And third of all, when he says that any Democrats inciting violence against Republicans should be thrown off the air, I'm sorry, but thrown off what air? Of all people who should realize this, it's you. One of the main issues is that we live in an era where if you do get thrown off the air, you can pop up in an equally, if not more, financially advantageous air elsewhere and say the exact same thing. Tucker Carlson got fired from Fox News when the network had to pay $787 million to Dominion Voting Systems for falsely promoting this idea that they were involved in election fraud, and Tucker was one of the main anchors at the center of that false promotion. So where did Tucker go after his massive public embarrassment? Did he hide under a rock? Did he go on a national I Was Wrong speaking tour? No, he just started his own show somewhere else, one of the biggest political shows in America. And one of the places that show airs is a platform run by a guy who will let you say whatever the fuck you want as long as he can drop into an occasional K-hole while he concocts a way to own another planet. Isn't there someone who will step up and call for a change in tone?
But this agony we're all feeling must not dissipate into a stubborn apathy or morph into a violent rage.
Wow, that is actually impressive and, dare I say, comforting. I mean, to hear a conservative like Laura Ingraham, on Fox News no less, call for resilience and calm at a time of great sorrow without assigning blame to one... Oh, what's that? Oh, she wasn't done.
But we do need to embrace the truth at the same time that the left has a lot to answer for at this moment. We've been warning for years that their rhetoric would lead us to a very dark place.
So close. The reality is, what our nation needs right now is someone who will lower the temperature, which ostensibly would be the job of the guy running the country. Now, I'm not saying that the right will adhere to whatever Donald Trump tells them to do, even though that's kind of been the case in the past. But in crucial moments like these, I think there's a pretty damn good chance. If you recall, although it came just a tad later than the nation wanted it, when Donald Trump told January 6ers that they didn't have to go home but they couldn't stay here, they actually listened. Unfortunately, calming rhetoric that brings about harmony and healing isn't the product this guy sells. I mean, if it was, he probably wouldn't have made this change one of his top priorities.
That's why we named the former Department of Defense the Department of War.
If you're someone who looks at the most well-equipped and overfunded military on the planet and believes that war machine's moniker just presents too much weakness, so a name change to something a bit more hostile is crucial, I don't think we can expect that guy to shift to a calmer tone. It's like asking the Pillsbury Doughboy to start selling kale. Not exactly what made him a household name. But certain pivotal moments call for pivotal change, and being able to make that change is the sign of a great leader. And that is what we need right now. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Should Americans want the person who sits behind the desk in the Oval Office to be that type of person who can make that change? Yes. And do I think Donald Trump wants to make that change?
I couldn't care less.
No, I do not. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.